Community is mourning the death of an Atlanta club owner.
Sharell Canty was shot and killed over the holiday weekend in Gwinnett County. We're told Canty was the co-owner of Opium.
She was the life of every room she walked into. The woman Atlanta's nightlife couldn't function without. The promoter, the connector, the co-owner, the one everybody called when they wanted the night to be legendary. And on a quiet Sunday morning in a suburban Georgia neighborhood, someone found her dead, shot twice in the head, inside a home she should have been safe in. That someone was her neighbor, and the person police say pulled the trigger? Her ex-wife. This is the story of Sharell Canty. And if you've never heard that name before today, I need you to pay attention, because this one is going to stay with you. Before we go any further, if you're new here, hit that like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss a story like this one. This is Crime Files, and we don't just cover the headlines. We go deeper. Sharell Canty was 44 years old, born in 1983, and raised to be somebody. She built herself into one of Atlanta's most recognized figures in the entertainment and nightlife world. If you were in Atlanta's LGBTQ plus nightlife scene at any point in the last decade, you knew Sharell, or you knew of her, because her reputation walked into the room before she did. She was a co-owner of Opium nightclub, one of Atlanta's popular nightlife spots. She also promoted events at Boogaloo Restaurant. But more than any venue, Sharell was the event. Her friend and co-worker Dejai Henry described her perfectly. He said when Sharell walked into a club, everybody knew she was there. They knew to bring out her favorite drink, the Dom Perignon. They knew the night was about to shift. She had what very few people are born with. Oha, a pull. The kind of charisma that makes strangers feel like old friends and turns ordinary nights into memories. But Sharell wasn't just a personality. She was the brains. Henry talked about how deeply she understood business, how she knew what it took to build something and sustain it, how she put the right people in place, kept the operation moving, and never stopped pushing. Opium didn't just succeed because it was a good venue. It succeeded because Sharell Canty was behind it. Outside of the club world, she was someone people turned to when they needed things to happen. She made connections. She opened doors. She was described by people who knew her as a genuine human being in a world full of people performing genuineness. One person said she was one of the most genuine people they'd ever met in Atlanta. And in that city, in that industry, that's saying everything. She had plans. She had more to give. And everyone who loved her knew it. The Thursday before she died, she had dinner with her friend, former WNBA player and Atlanta Dream veteran Tamara Young. They laughed. They kicked it. It was a regular night between two people who cared about each other. Tamara had no idea it would be the last time. None of them did. By Sunday morning, Sharell Canty was gone. Now let's talk about the woman police say took her life, because she is just as much a part of this story as Sharell is. And understanding who Stephany Byrom was, publicly, is what makes this case so difficult to sit with. Stephany Byrom was 48 years old. She was a licensed real estate agent working under ERA Sunrise Realty out of Duluth, Georgia. On her professional profile, she described herself as one of Georgia's premier real estate consultants. She talked about being professional, personable, and patient. She talked about making sure every client had a memorable experience. She talked about working tirelessly on behalf of the people who trusted her. From the outside, Stephany Byrom looked like someone who had built a solid, respectable life. She was a known face in the community. She was embedded in the suburbs. She had a career, a reputation, a presence. Nobody on that quiet street in Grayson would have pointed to her and said, danger. Nobody would have said, watch out. That's exactly what makes this so haunting. Because here's what we know. Sharell Canty and Stephany Byrom were once married. At some point, they divorced. Police classified the case as a domestic-related homicide. They confirmed the two had previously been in a relationship. But beyond that, investigators have not publicly released a motive. They have not told us what happened in the hours or days leading up to May 24th. They have not told us whether there were prior incidents, whether there were warning signs, whether anyone knew something was wrong. What we do know is this. At 8:42 in the morning on Sunday, May 24th, 2026, a neighbor made a call that would change everything. They found something wrong at the home on Wilkerson Way in the Dove Lake neighborhood off Grayson Parkway. When Gwinnett County officers arrived, they found Sharell Canty's body inside the home. The preliminary investigation began as a death of unknown cause. Within hours, it became a homicide investigation. And by Monday, Stephany Byrom was in handcuffs. Arrest warrants obtained by 11 Alive confirmed the detail that stops you cold. Sharell was shot twice in the head. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a moment of confusion. The charge of malice murder in Georgia means prosecutors believe the killing was intentional and deliberate, premeditated. Byrom also faces felony murder, aggravated assault, and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. She is currently sitting in Gwinnett County Jail with no publicly announced court date as of now. The neighborhood itself was in shock. Neighbor Jordan Stallworth described seeing police cars swarming the area, an ambulance, yellow tape across the house. She said it was scary, that it made her want to move, because this was supposed to be one of those areas. Quiet, family-friendly, a newer development, the kind of suburb where nothing like this happens. Sergeant Jennifer Richter of the Gwinnett County Police Department confirmed that call volume in that part of Grayson is usually low. She said this area just doesn't get death calls. That alone tells you how jarring this was for everyone who lives there. This wasn't a dangerous block. This was someone's peaceful corner of the world. And on a Sunday morning, while most people were still sleeping, violence tore through it. Now here is where this case takes on a layer that doesn't get talked about enough. We talk about domestic violence constantly in this country. We talk about it as if we all understand what it looks like. And most people, when they picture it, picture a very specific image, a specific kind of relationship, a specific kind of victim. But the reality is that domestic violence does not care about who you love. It does not care about gender. It does not care about sexuality. It hides just as easily inside same-sex relationships, behind closed doors in respectable neighborhoods, between two women who once chose each other. The CDC has data on this that most people have never seen. 43.8% of lesbian women report having experienced physical violence, stalking, or rape by a partner in their lifetime. That number rivals and in some cases exceeds rates seen in heterosexual relationships. And yet 44% of LGBTQ plus survivors of intimate partner violence have reported being denied shelter services when they tried to get help. The system that is supposed to catch people in crisis is failing an enormous portion of them. The violence is real. The resources are not always there. We don't know if Sharell ever tried to get help. We don't know if she was afraid. We don't know what the inside of that relationship looked like when the cameras were off and the club lights were down. But what we know is that she is gone. And the woman police say shot her twice in the head was someone she once said "I do" to. Think about that for a moment. The people who knew Sharell best are now left trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Her cousin Aletha Hazel Ponder posted on social media, and her words broke a lot of hearts. She wrote that she had been sitting all day trying to wrap her head around what happened, that her precious baby Sharell was killed, that she kept asking God how and why. She said the tears wouldn't stop because Sharell had so much more to give, so many more plans. She called her a sweet baby cousin who was only borrowing time in this world, and now that time was gone. Tamara Young wrote that it felt like a sick dream, that she was hurting so badly just typing the words. She said Sharell was a real one, a good one, a heart of gold, someone who genuinely wanted people around her to be happy. And knowing that their last dinner together on Thursday was the last time she would ever see her, that reality hit different. To Jai Henry, her colleague, her friend, her partner in building opium into what became, made a promise. He said they would keep her legacy alive. He said Sharell would tell in a party and bawl like she's still here. And they plan to do exactly that. Opium will stay open. Her name will stay in the building. Her presence will be felt even in her absence. That is what it looks like when someone truly mattered. Not just the grief, but the refusal to let the story end with the crime. Now I want to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this. How well do we actually know the people we love? How many people in your life have a version of themselves they only show in private? We are so conditioned to judge books by their cover, to assume that a polished exterior means a stable interior. Stephany Byrom had a career, a professional reputation, a life that looked normal from the outside. And Sharell Canty had a public life full of warmth and connection and community. But behind closed doors, something was broken, something was dangerous, and nobody saw it coming. Or if they did, we don't know yet. What does it say about us as a society that we still don't have the infrastructure to support survivors who fall outside of the box we've drawn for what domestic violence looks like? What does it say that people can be in danger and never find their way to help because the help wasn't built for them? And what does it say that a woman who built a community, who gave Atlanta nightlife its soul, who made strangers feel like family, ended up alone in a home on a Sunday morning, taken by someone she used to call her wife? Sharell Canty deserved more time. She deserved to see every plan she had come to life. She deserved dinner with Tamara on a Thursday night that wasn't the last one. If this case moved you, if Sharell's story stayed with you the way it stayed with me, please like this video, subscribe to Crime Files, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss what comes next. Every view, every subscribe, every share keeps stories like this one alive. And right now, keeping Sharell's name alive is the least we can do. Rest easy, Sharell. Atlanta felt you.